afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. This is Driven Dave. Really happy to have you with us today. Today I have a really awesome car on the channel, and I know you probably already saw by the description, but we're going to do a little interior and features review of this beautiful 2008 Toyota Sienna Limited. Now, I don't want to vibe anybody out here, but it is the top of the line trim. I know you're jealous. I don't blame you. I know that you probably feel like Frank from Old School when deep down you're like, man, I'm Frank the Tank. I don't drive a minivan. I understand. But it's cool to drive a minivan, especially when it's the Limited. So I'm going to show you all about this Limited trim. For us, this happens to be my personal vehicle, one of them. And when we had our son, I was really experiencing a lot of like back pain and trouble just kind of getting him in and out of the car. Those of you parents that are watching, and I know, several of you are, I know you have, you know what it's like to take a car seat in and out, especially you're opening a tiny door that doesn't open very much. Well, I'll tell you why the minivan is the best vehicle to have kids with, and it's the best vehicle for a lot of other stuff too. So if you're considering getting a minivan, hopefully this video will be, some better insight for you, and maybe will help you make up your mind on, really one of the best decisions you've ever made. Here's what I really like. So let's say you've got the infant, you're holding the thing. Check it out. Half the car opens. Thanks for that, Mustang. Anyway, we've got this sweet hat here. But see, you've got your car seat base, click, and you've got all this room right here. You don't even have to bend over. For me, I'm a tall guy, so this is a really nice feature for me to just be able to go click rather than having to bend over and strain my back. Really, this was a game changer for me. And now with two kids, I mean, you just can't beat it. And this is the configuration that we normally have the van in. With the two kids, this is kind of perfect. They both get a seat, and then we both get a seat. And then we have all this room in the back. I was going to clean this van up and make it look even better than it does, especially on the inside, but I decided to give kind of more of a realistic review. So, like if you own one of these, this is what it's going to look like when it's in service. And of course, all of that's going to depend on the type of people you are and the kind of stuff you like to take with you. But for us, I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to keep it real. So as we do the kind of interior features, you're going to see kind of just a lot of the things. I'm just keeping it 100%. So I think I'm going to start at the back of the van here. Okay, well, let's talk about this. This is kind of a drag. One of these days, I want to take these rails off and repaint, but it just has not been a priority in my life. And really, most of the time, you're not up here. I mean, look, now I'm finally seeing the top of the van, and I never get up here. And it's not like you're going to be, washing and waxing this regularly. I mean, you can see the automatic car wash. It doesn't even get, it's blocked by this rail here. So that's always going to be dirty, pretty much. So, and it's a minivan. So, hey, it's not like anyone's going to be looking that closely to how dirty it is. But, it does clean up nice. I do feel like it is a pretty handsome looking van overall. And this color combination is nice. The wheels that this particular, the Limited and the XLE trim have these really nice wheels. And I think they're, I really think it's a nice look to the van, especially with the tinted windows. This one, being the fully loaded trim, does have quite a few nice options. It does have the HID headlights, and those are pretty good. Honestly, I feel like they should be better, especially for the size of this vehicle. Here's just a little bit of headlight example for you. Earlier I mentioned that this car does have the top of the line headlights, and although they do a good job, They don't do a great job. So you can see kind of like just how far out in front that they don't really project. So you can see like on this street where there's not a whole lot of light, if I don't turn on my brights, and you can see the brights are not actually the HIDs, they're just like regular, what is it, incandescent bulbs or whatever. So I'm going to turn off the brights. Now we're back to the low beams. Obviously the fog lights help lighting up the front, but you really, you know, I think for a vehicle this big you would expect really good lights, and these are not great. They're okay. So that's my opinion. You would kind of expect brighter headlights, and they do, you know, they fog over pretty easily. So I've had them, I redid them once, and then I had a detail shop redo them again, and now they need to be done a third time. But that's just one of those things that, especially with all the cars having plastic headlights, we're just going to see a lot more of that. The other thing that's really common with these vehicles, front and rear bumpers, the paint really starts to deteriorate, and you can see here, you know, the front bumper is really starting to kind of discolor. There are a lot of scratches and nicks. I mean, it's a 2008, so what do you expect? There's some scratches here and whatnot. We got into a slight fender bender with this when we first got it. Actually, my wife was driving and she got rear-ended by a G-Wagon, or a Gelandenwagen for those of you Mercedes fans. And really the car didn't take much damage at all, except for the rear bumper. It did get pretty beat up, and it was kind of really beat up to begin with. So we did get a whole new bumper put on, and you know, it's one of those things. I took it to Caliber Collision, and I think they really did a good job matching the paint color. I think it looks really quite good. It looks a lot better than it did before. Originally they were going to do it with an aftermarket bumper, and when I went to pick up the van, like nothing lined up. This didn't line up. This really didn't line up. I mean, it doesn't now, but it really didn't with the aftermarket bumper. And so I complained, and they agreed to just get me an OEM bumper. So if you do end up with one of these and you want it to look right, you really do need an OEM bumper if you get into a little accident. It's just because, like, with the outside of all of these cars now, all of these just kind of clip in, and it's all just kind of, you know, they're all plastic parts. So they're not going to fit perfectly, and that's why you really need to get, you know, the factory stuff. So just top tip there. But I do think that they did do a nice job on the paint. As you can see, we do have the parking sensors here, got the rear wiper, and top tip, if you do happen to replace the hatch struts, if they go out, just hypothetically, make sure you use something to support it before you take either of the struts off. Otherwise, the back hatch might close and the shock might get stuck out and then break the rear window. Hypothetically, asking for a friend, if you know what I mean. But it turns out, since these Siennas are everywhere, you can get a new windshield or a rear glass for about 120 bucks. Not bad. And then this comes off pretty easily. Again, not that I would know, but yeah, but I know. Moving around the car here, really not a lot to talk about. I do have the power folding mirrors, which is nice, pre-scratched, which is good. And we also do have the little sonar parking sensors in front. There's one here, and then there's one here, but there's not one in the middle. And I really wish there would be one in the middle, because when you're parking, you know, you're usually looking at where the nose of the car is going to hit, and it really doesn't help you at all. So you only get a little help if there's something like on the side. So I'm not sure what that's all about. I don't know if they were kind of trying to save a little money there or what have you, but just be aware, if you do have the parking sensors, they're only going to beep on the sides. One other kind of thing that's unique to the Limited trim, I think the XLE models get the sonar, but I know the Limited gets everything. So early on, if you can see that right there, that would be the radar cruise control, or maybe it's laser, I can't remember. But I think it's radar. And that was the thing that really made me want to get the Limited model, was adaptive cruise. I thought, man, that's going to make life so much better. I'm just going to love that. Now, if you're looking at a newer one of these, definitely opt for the, I think they call it automated cruise control or adaptive cruise control, something like that. Make sure it handles stop and go traffic, because it is the best. I absolutely love it. I think it's the best feature you can get on any car. Back in 2008, this technology was still kind of in its infancy. I know Lexus was putting it on the LS430 back in the early 2000s, and then I think Toyota was Toyota Lexus. And I know they were starting to dip their toe with this technology in some of the more regular vehicles like the Sienna. And so basically what it does, it will send a radar signal to the car in front of you, and then it bases, the distance from, the front of your car to the back of the next car, and it will adjust the speed based on all of that. It does work pretty well most of the time. I've noticed if it's raining, it will light up with an error message and just not want to work most of the time. So, and it won't even take a whole lot of rain to do that. Even just some kind of a light downpour will do that. So, I don't know, I don't use the cruise a whole lot in this. There is a way you can toggle between radar and standard cruise. So oftentimes if I'm on a freeway trip, I'll just put it on standard cruise. But it is nice to have the feature. It just doesn't work quite the way I would want it to. And if you get a newer car, certainly it'll handle that stop and go traffic, and it's a must-have for real. So I think we'll start at the back here. I probably already said that, my apologies. It does have an automated liftgate, which is nice. Right now I'm just using it manually just because I didn't feel like getting the remote out. But I'll show you that feature on the way in a minute. So like I said, I've got this set up how we use it. So you can see we got the 2 chairs up there. Those are all set to go. And the big thing is, I was kind of touching on this earlier, even if you just have one kid, take a look at the size of that stroller. It's hard to really get a sense of, scale by looking at it. But if you have just a standard sized SUV, that's going to be the majority of your cargo space. So if you've got a kid that's under the age of 1, by the time you just take your baby, take your diaper bag, take your stroller, that's most of your storage just right there. So that's what's so awesome about these minivans, and why I think it's really the ultimate children hauler. You just can't beat it. As you can see, I've got the diaper changing station ready. We've got this nice soft luxurious blanket here, so you can set your child down. Got the water wipes, got the Aquaphor ready to go. It's awesome. For me, it's a little low since I'm so tall. It's kind of hard to do the diaper change from this angle. So sometimes I'll actually sit right here and kind of do it like that, kind of from the side. But still, it does work out. It's just fine. Of course, under here, you can see this is where the rear seats are. And with the Limited package, we've got, you guessed it, you've got power rear seats, which I think is a pretty neat feature. Although if you had to choose between an XLE that had navigation and DVD but didn't have power seats, don't worry about the power seats. They're really not that big of a deal. We hardly use them, but still, it's a nice feature. Back here also, you can see you've got the very tattered looking JBL Synthesis subwoofer, which, it bumps, question mark. It's not bad for 2008. I think, compared to modern car stereos, it's really not very good. I gotta be honest, but it's fine. I'm glad we got top of the line, because even at top of the line, it does not sound great. Just got to be honest there, and I'm kind of picky because I'm a musician. Here we've got a 2-prong Yes, 2-prong outlet. I wish it had the little thing there. So you're kind of limited with what you can actually plug into this thing, but it's nice to have it. And then you've got a nice thing to put your finger in. Just kidding, don't do that. But you've got a nice 120 watt, 12 volt outlet there. Nice little light. You can see a little tweeter built in here. There's speakers in places. You've got one here and one there, and then you've got kind of down there. Honestly, when you're sitting in the back, it can be a little hard to hear the volume. You know, if you're watching a movie, I feel like that really could be a lot better. You do kind of have to crank the volume up to get your tunes going. From a repair perspective, right here, these covers, let's see if I can get this with my, yeah, sure can. That's where the rear shock mount is. And I did replace the shocks in this car, and it was very easy. I think the rears took me about 40 minutes. And then in here, this is where we've got the spare, well, not the spare tire, but this is where you have your toolkit and everything. It's really hard to figure out how this fits in. I don't know who figured this out, but it is not great, I have to say. It does get the job done, but very precarious to place all of that back. And also, we will talk about the spare tire. That is located under the vehicle, and you have to know, I mean, I was lucky that we had the owner's manual, because I just didn't think we were ever going to need this, but wouldn't you know, one of the front tires blew out while we were in Bakersfield, of all places. Much love to Bakersfield, if any of you are from there. But, you know, it was like 150 degrees outside, and, you know, my son was still a baby, and I mean, it just couldn't have been a worse time for it to happen. So I'll show you where that is. The spare is located under the vehicle. I don't know if you'll see this on camera. It's somewhere right around here. And the way that you access it, there's this little flap in the dirty carpet here. And then you just put the tool on that, and it drops it down with a little cable thing. And that's how you get your spare out. Now, the spare is full size, which is great. And no, it isn't. I'm wrong. Sorry, the spare is a donut, but obviously your flat tire is going to have the full size rim. Now, even though you can put it under the car, you're not supposed to. So you want to make sure to put that in the back if you do have a flat. I did it the wrong way, and luckily we didn't have any problems, but we could have, and it would have been bad. So I'll show you a little bit of the front of the car, and maybe I'll cut in a B-roll footage of how these power rear.
So fancy.
So fancy.
So fancy.
So fancy.
Oh, it's so fancy.
So fancy.
Quite right. It's so fancy.
Work in a minute here. So one other little kind of gripe I have about this car, this to close the hatch, and to activate the little motor, you give it a little kind of a yank until it catches, and then it'll pull itself down automatically and do a soft close. You can also turn off the power doors, which is great, but there really should be a button or something that you can press up here, but that's all it is. You just pull this thing. And also, you know, there's no way to actually open the hatch from the back of the car, which I think, you know, is kind of dangerous, particularly if you're back here. Maybe you're back here doing a diaper change, you know, like baby's here and you're here and the car's on, and you want to just easily hop out of the back. You can't do that. And I think that's, you know, I don't think that's a good idea. But hey, you know, I didn't design it, I just own it. So here's how that works. And it gives that classic 80s Toyota like warning beep. And we'll just watch it kind of soft close. Very fancy, very luxurious, very nice. A couple of different ways you can close these doors. There's a little button right here for the power doors. You can also pull this, or you can pull this, or the remote has little buttons you can hit. So lots of options there. I'll do it this way for now. Super fancy, super luxurious. Oh yeah, Frank the Tank. Go around to the driver's seat where all the magic happens. I think I'll fire this up. Get a little air conditioning going. It's kind of hot today. So as you can see, we're showing 134,570 miles on the clock. I've owned this vehicle since it had 93,000 miles. So we've had it for a little bit and really haven't had any major problems. The water pump went out. That was about $700, so that was kind of a drag. Other than that, one or two batteries, and then I replaced the shocks and struts. And I did that myself. It cost me about $500 in parts. I used some of those KYB quick struts, and it was a really, really good upgrade. The car just drove so much nicer, and it was much better on the freeway. In any case, we'll talk about some of these interior features and also some of my gripes. First gripe, that looks awful. Also, you know, on camera it probably looks pretty decent. We've got this nice wood everywhere. We've got wood here and wood here. I mean, it's all plastic. And it's not like substantial feeling plastic. It looks like you've got this nice fancy steering wheel when in fact it's plastic. But it looks good. As you can see, the leather here, most of this was already kind of worn off when we bought it. And I'm not going to say it's gotten better since we owned it, because that's certainly not the case, but it's holding up okay. But I think some higher quality leather would be nice. Maybe some real wood, you know, like a proper luxury car. I really kind of expected this van to be, you know, being the limited model, being the XLE, top of the line. I thought that it would kind of remind me of my Lexus a little bit, and it really doesn't. This feels like a Toyota. And, you know, and I know Lexus is Toyota, but Lexus is a little better. This is a Toyota for sure. And this is not, pretty sure this is not made in Japan. Let's see. What does it say there? It usually says, oh yeah, Indiana. So this is an American minivan, and I do feel like part of that does show. And I'm not trying to bash American car manufacturers or anything, but you know, let's face it, for a long time, the Japanese cars were made, you know, much more, you know, durably than American cars. And I'm not sure if it's because this car was made in the States or if it's because I don't know. But there's some things they're kind of not so great. But first I'll talk about the things that are really awesome. Driver memory. This is great, especially like, you know, I'm 6'2", my wife is like 5'2". So, you know, this is really nice to have, you know, the preset seat and the mirrors. I'm a huge fan of all of that. Auto down, auto up, driver window. Nice. Why couldn't the rest also be auto? Anyway, you got your child window lockout. That comes in handy. You got this really nice little cubby here. And look at all of this room here. You know, you've got room for snacks and masks and scissors and, you know, Bob Berg CDs. It's terrific. Lots of room there. Moving over here, this is kind of a nice one. If you want to retract your mirrors, check it out. Oh yeah, love it. And then we'll put them back out. Super fancy, super luxurious. You know, like I said, I don't want to intimidate anybody, but this is top of the line stuff. Right here, you can kind of control the up and down of the headlights, which is cool. I usually don't mess with that. Also, you've got power rear vented windows. So I'm going to press that, and it's hard to see because I've got these shades on all the windows, which again, super fancy. Check that out. Wow. Can open those up, close them down. Really, that's a nice feature. I don't use it often, but it's great. Also, you can turn off the power sliding door and the power back door. And I think this is like a TPMS button. Yeah, that's what it is. And I think if you have like winter tires and summer tires, you can switch that out. And then here you've kind of got your master light switch, so that'll just turn everything on. If you leave it in the middle setting, that'll open up. You know, when you open the doors, the lights will turn on and turn off. And then if you want to just shut everything off, you can just cancel them all right there, which is great. Right here, your rear window defroster. Got your hazards. This turns on the power inverter for that rear plug, which is cool. You've got a nice auxiliary input. Really great feature. Here we've got the top of the line Toyota nav system, which it's from 2008. What do you expect? I like having it on. Maybe I can zoom out a little more. Yeah, it's kind of nice. You can kind of see where you are. But see, now it's useless. So you kind of have to go in a little bit more so you can see street names. I don't know what to tell you. If it's a base model car, it's not going to have this. It's just going to have a regular radio, in which case it'll be easier to put in like a modern head unit, which I think would be great to have like Apple CarPlay and all of that stuff. But since we have the rear DVD system and we have this, it really becomes expensive and complicated to switch this out. So I don't know. I'm glad we have it and it works fine. There. So I don't really use the nav, but I just kind of have the map on just so I can see what street I'm on. And sometimes that's really helpful. You know, if you go to, God, I don't even use this thing. I can't remember how it works. But you can see you've got like maintenance reminders and stuff. I don't really use this stuff, so that's why that's red. But maybe, did I use this? Oh yeah, I did use this, I think, maybe. I changed the oil like a year ago almost. I think it was November. Because we just haven't been driving a whole lot. So yeah, so I guess I've gone like 4,500 miles. I don't know. It needs an oil change soon. And it'll need a tire rotation at the same time, because I always do that at the same time. I just do it 5,000 miles. I know some people say 3,000 miles, some people say 5,000 miles, some people say 7,500 miles or 10,000 miles. But I figure 5 is like a pretty good kind of, you know, it's like you're not throwing good oil away at 5,000 miles, but you're not cooking it to death either. So I think with modern vehicles, 5,000 is totally cool. Whether you're using synthetic or regular, you know, it's just not too extreme. Now, of course, if you're in a climate that is super extreme, then maybe you'll need to do it more often. But, you know, we're in Southern California here. It's nice most of the time. So that's just what I do. Comment down below. What do you do? Tell me. You know, if I'm wrong, tell me. That's fine. Or if you agree, tell me that too. Just comment something. Say hi. I'd love to hear from you. In any case, also you've got, as you can see, the auxiliary input. That's kind of nice. You can adjust all the sound stuff. I've noticed like this van has a lot of treble. Like with this JBL system, like it will shred your ears. So I don't keep the treble up very much. The bass I did have to kind of kick up a little bit because I just wasn't hearing a whole lot. It's like that subwoofer pretty much does nothing unless you crank it. And I think that's because it's so far away. It's so far in the back there. Looking up here, oh yeah, sorry. Getting back to this. You can it has Bluetooth telephone, which works pretty well. I haven't paired my phone to it. My wife usually drives this car, so we usually have her phone paired to it, and that's fine. I also bought this little thing. Here it is. It's the MPOW, a little Bluetooth thingy. So this has a mic, and it has like a answer button, and then track forward and backward. I think it was like 20 bucks on Amazon. Works great. And so I plug that into the aux input, and then I can use my phone to do like Bluetooth music and even do some phone calls. We've got the heated seats. These don't work very well. I thought they were going to be awesome, but you know, I drove around once for a couple of weeks with this on full blast, and I never even noticed. I think there was one day I was like, oh, heated seats on. It's a weak system. It doesn't work well. Maybe it's just our van. They do work. They just don't work well. So not a big fan of that. You've got rear AC and front AC, which is nice. Another like small gripe, the rear AC works really well, but the controls are here. So like I cannot see the screen from where I'm sitting. I'm not sure if you can see the screen from how I'm pointing it, but that's the main control. So I can control the temperature from here, but if I don't have it set to auto, I'm not sure what the fan speed is going to be. And I think that's kind of a drag. And especially if you have an infant back there, like you don't want to freeze them, but you also don't want to cook them. So, you know, I'm constantly kind of having to go, okay, what's the, you know, throw my hand back here and feel on the vent just to see how that's looking. So again, not a big deal, but I wish that was a better design. I really, really, really do. Destination, and see, like, I mean, this is just so outdated. Like, you're just not going to use this, but it does work, kind of. But I've never used the voice guidance because I'm sure it's awful, and I'm sure I wouldn't even know how to enter an address because these things are always super complicated. You can press disc here, and I thought, there we go, got the Aristocats playing. Pretty good music. But I don't want to get a copyright strike, so we're going to turn that down. But you got touchscreen controls here. So you use these basically to like select, I'll get a little closer there so you can see. You can select what you want to do and then, you know, hit enter. And you know, it's pretty nice. If you're going to be sitting in the car and you've got some time to kill and you want to watch something, you can do it as long as the parking brake is on, you know, and it's an old school foot controlled lever. So you can see when I take the parking brake off, that turns off, but the movie still plays in the back on the main screen. And I'll show you the main screen in a minute when we move to the back of the vehicle. But just kind of wrapping up our little tour of the front here. Automatic transmission, what is it, a 5-speed? Something like that. Got cup holder, nice dirty cup holder that comes out there. You've got a power outlet that won't stay in its socket. Very, very luxurious. Same with this one, it falls out. You've got another little panel here, which is cool. And, you know, I forgot. I never even look in here. But it looks like we got probably some remotes that don't work. Yeah, look at that. Rear entertainment with some coffee on it. I bet that works really well. And another DVD remote that probably doesn't work either. Never even tried, to be honest. And I think we're the 5th owners of this car. It's amazing that it's like in such good shape. I'm not going to say it's nicer than when we bought it because it definitely isn't, but we have not trashed it either. And a lot of the Siennas that you're going to find of this age are just trashed. It's understandable when you see how kids treat vans, but you know, if you can find one that's in good shape, you know, go ahead and buy it. We've got this nice little extra glove box there. Got the main glove box here, plenty of room. This one also comes with fancy Toyota headphones that we've never tried. I'm sure someday that'll come in handy. Again, you've got a storage cubby there. Great place to throw forks and napkins here. I think a notepad is actually supposed to go here, but whatever. Don't care. And then huge center console there. Love it. Giant cup holders. I mean, look at that full-size water bottle, dude. You kidding me? It's awesome. So you can have your giant water here. You can have your Starbucks here. I'm telling you, it's just great. And this car just has cup holders on cup holders on cup holders. We love it. 2 more here. Very nice. And then back here, another 2. So you got 2, 4, 6, 7 just right there. And then in the door panels, you've got 8 and 9. And then you've got more in the back. I don't know how many cup holders this has, but it's ridiculous and it's awesome.
Perfect.
The downside to having that many cup holders, you may end up with, if you're a little lazy about taking your trash out after the drive, you might end up with, a bit of trash or a lot of trash. Look at all of the plastic utensils you can fit down there. Isn't that amazing? I just love it. Again, just wanted to show you guys the real world. Like this is how we use this van. Got your map lights, got your little trip computer, east, current miles per gallon, distance to empty, outside temperature, average miles per gallon, and I think that's pretty accurate. You don't really think of a minivan as being like a gas guzzler, but it is. Like, it is. It does not, this is not good for just like city driving. It will kill you at the gas pump. But this is about what we average. If I get this on the highway more, you'll get closer to 20, but it's not good. I'm not going to lie about that. And I hate it when people say, oh yeah, we get 19, 23. No, you don't. You get 15. You get 16 maybe. All right. So that's just how it is. Up here, sunglasses holder or glasses, whatever. And that's going to be on the driver's side. I don't really use that. In here, fantastic. Broken mirror, but you're supposed to be able to use this to see the rear passengers. I was just fiddling with this one day and it just snapped off. So you can see it's plastic. This should be a pretty cheap fix. I found one at a junkyard and I was trying to pull it off and it broke too. So, whoops. So I haven't had any luck with that. One of these days I'll fix that, I guess, question mark. I don't know. I just don't know. And here you can control all the doors. That's your door over here, and then that's your door on the passenger side, and then the rear hatch as well. Also, you've got, and I think this is cool. Look at that. How cool is that? So you're cruising, get some light coming in. That's nice, man. You can also vent this. Uh-oh. Whoops. It didn't like that. Full disclosure, this van lives under an oak tree, and this is sap season, big time. So the oak tree just drops sap, and what happens is sometimes the sap gets kind of stuck on those seals, and it will essentially glue the sunroof shut, which is kind of a drag. I hope it'll open. Let's see. Nope, it's not going to open. It is glued shut. And I took this through the car wash today. I was hoping that would take care of it, but ooh, yeah, it is not happy. Yeah, I'm not going to force it because I don't want it to break. But the sunroof has been great. It's a really nice size. And it does feel pretty premium actually when you're rolling. You got the nice leather seats, got the sunroof. It's a pretty nice ride, and I've mentioned this in some of my other videos. Headroom is really good. And, for me being tall, that's really nice. I really can't, the worst bumps, I'm still not going to hit my head, which is great. Whereas like in my LS400, like I hit that thing right away. Lighted vanity mirrors, very nice. I mean, nothing special there, but nice big sun visors. That's also a really nice thing. And you can see that really covers like the whole window except for a little bit right here, but that's good enough. So I like that. I'll show you the rear entertainment. I think we'll do from here. So I'm going to press this button and open up half the car. Again, awesome. So I can't sit right now because we got this car seat base here. But these rear seats, they do have like the anchor system, which makes installing car seats just a breeze. Just love it. So you can drop this down. You can see we got the Aristocats going, and you have your controls up here. Pretty outdated technology, but hey, it works great, and really glad to have it, honestly. I hate these seats. Now let me talk about that for just a second. It is nice, you can leave them in without the car seat base attached. They can kind of swivel forward, and then they kind of mount like up here so that they don't fall back. And that gives you a pretty good amount of room. I think probably around 6, maybe 7 feet of storage, you know, from here back, which is really nice. With the seats removed, and having that whole rear section flat, that's going to give you the ability to do full like 8-foot sheets of plywood, drywall, siding material, what have you. So 4x8 sheets of material, no problem. I did a bit of construction, and I used this as my main pickup truck, and this van really handled, I mean, I just couldn't believe how much money it saved me in like pickup truck rentals and, you know, U-Haul rentals. Really, really a good thing. Now, it does not have the durability of a pickup truck. So make sure, you know, if you're buying one of these to be like, you know, a contractor's vehicle, I wouldn't, you know, get a pickup truck, because that's what they're meant for. These are meant for hauling kids, but if you need to do some construction, you can do it. I've also done 12-foot boards, you know, and the thing you do, you put a rag or something on the dash here, and you put that 12-foot board all the way up to the windshield, and then kind of angle it back, and you will get the hatch closed, which is pretty cool. So I did quite a few 12-foot boards. I did 10-foot boards. I did a lot of 2x4s. That was no problem for the back. What else did I put back there? Golly, I mean, concrete, or cement. I can't remember if it's cement or concrete. I think it's concrete, and then it becomes cement. I don't know. Comment down below, tell me, because I just can't remember. But anyway, I did like 1,400 bags of concrete. I did a bunch of bags. I did some 6x6 pressure treated lumber. I did like 4 boards high here. I mean, this thing was just a trooper. I think I had it riding on the bump stops, but it handled it. And the only drag is, and here's where I feel like Chrysler really has it, Dodge Chrysler, whatever you want to call it. The Caravan has the stow and go seats, and that is just the greatest thing ever, because these seats are not stow and go. These have to be folded forward, and then you lose some space, so you can't do like 8-foot sheets. So that's a drag. So the only way that you can do the 8-foot sheets is you have to take everything out. You have to take the seats out. And those seats, you know, unless you're in good shape, they're pretty dang heavy. I don't know how much they weigh, but there's no really easy way to grab them. It is really easy to scratch the paint of your car if you happen to catch it. They're hard to put back in. You know, there's no place to put them once you take them out. They're just kind of a drag altogether. So I can't believe it, but I'm going to say, if you're going to do a lot of stuff where you need that flat surface, I would say advantage Dodge. You know, stow and go is definitely the way to go. But if that's not like the main focus of what you're going to use your van for, you know, obviously I don't think you want to buy a Dodge for the reliability and everything. And hey, if I'm wrong, comment down below. I won't get mad. And I know people that have had Caravans that, you know, got 60,000 miles out of them, and they were great. Sorry, I don't mean to poke fun, but you know, the thing that's great about the Toyotas and even the Hondas is that, you know, even at 134,000 miles, this van still feels great. It definitely has some squeaks and rattles. There are definitely some things on the interior that could have held up better, but the dang thing drives awesome. Like, it drives just as good as when we got it at 93,000 miles. And I'm sure it drove just as well as it did at 53,000 miles. And I'm sure it drove just as well as it did at 23,000 miles. I mean, they're just really made really, really well. And I feel like these Siennas are just cockroaches. You see them everywhere. The parts are super duper cheap for the most part. Labor for a lot of things is cheap. The water, like I said, the water pump was pretty expensive, and that's because it's like on the side and down at the bottom, so it's really hard to get to. But most things are really pretty easy to do. The oil change is kind of a drag, I gotta say, because they use that like canister filter. So most of the time I just pay to have that done. I did it myself the last time just because I didn't have time to take it somewhere. But you know, I'm trying to think of anything else that's kind of blaring and obvious about these cars. But you see these everywhere, mainly in like the CE trim, like the base model car. I do recommend the XLE because, like I said, if you're gonna have to drive a minivan, I think you should have all the toys, so that even though you're in a minivan, it doesn't feel like it. And I certainly get that impression when I drive this. It's really easy to drive. It feels kind of like a Toyota Camry or something, you know. It's just, you feel the weight at times and you feel the length of it. But it's a really nice vehicle. So in any case, I think that's just about all I can think of. If there's anything else you'd like to know about this car, anything I didn't cover, oh yeah, we've got the trip A, trip B. Also the stock, you got your auto lights, you got your fog lights, because this one is fancy. Also your rear wiper control, which is great, and it has the rear washer as well. Oh, I didn't talk about the steering wheel, I'm sorry. So I'm almost done yapping. Volume control, which is a nice feature. You can also change the track or the station. I think this takes you through like radio presets. And then mode, that's going to take you through, you know, from AM, FM, satellite, DVD, auxiliary. And then if you're using the Bluetooth phone, that'll answer and hang up. You can see mobile phone is not connected, but see, you've got you can even dial out from here, which I think is pretty neat for 2008. And then you've got your voice command for, I guess, for like the navigation, but I never use this. Let's see what it does.
No phone is linked. Please check the phone.
Well, there you have it, folks. Check the phone. So I guess that's just to do like voice calls and stuff, and I think that's a nice feature. But yeah, other than that, I think that's just about it with the interior. Obviously, lots of cup holders. That's great. Lots of cubbies and door cards and all kinds of stuff. There's not a whole lot, you know, for the rear passengers to do. You know, you got your window control there. Power windows are nice. It's nice to have these sunshades. Again, that's one of the more premium features. Sunroof is, you know, I think wonderful. But hey, you know, if you're not looking for all the goodies, then just get a CE. It's the same engine, and it's probably going to be faster and slightly more fuel efficient because it's not weighed down with all the extra power doohickeys, like the dual power seats. Oh, and that reminds me, just one other thing. I sound like Columbo. Just one more thing. So if you look here at the power seat controls, you've got your lumbar, which is great, and then of course, like, you can adjust the tilt of the seat cushion, which is nice, and then of course forward and backwards, all that good stuff. Put it back to my settings. Now I'm just going to run to the power passenger seat real quick. If we go over here, you'll see a similar control, except you don't have the lumbar, and you can't control the angle of this seat. And I was I was straight up angry when I found that out. I thought that was pretty lousy. As I mentioned, I'm tall, and you know, the ability to adjust this seat is really important for me. But you only really kind of get one option here on the passenger side. And I guess that's the thing with all of the Siennas from this year. We did actually look at another one, and I think it was just an XLE. And it was something I asked the salesman about, and he had no clue. But I figured, finding the Limited, I thought, you know, with the Limited, it would be perfect. Like, it would have all the options. But I guess that's just not an option. So it's pretty much just forward, backward, and then, you know, the seat back. So anyway, could be better. Could be worse. Kind of a first world problem. I don't mean to complain, but you know, you would think top of the line van, you're gonna get better seats. So anyway, that's my interior and exterior walk around. I hope you enjoyed it, and I do appreciate you watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Check out some of my other videos, watch some of my playlists, and hey, you don't even have to watch them. Just hit play and walk away. Turn the sound off. I don't care, you know, but I would really appreciate all the views and watch hours, all the comments, all the likes. I really appreciate it. So I hope we can keep the momentum going for the channel and get it to the next level. In any case, thank you again, and I will see you on the next one.